I played Spongebob Squarepants at Cosmic Shake on pretty much every single platform, and I also have the PlayStation 5 Collector's Edition on the way. And I'm glad to say that I absolutely love this game. I started my channel with a SpongeBob game retrospective, so this game was right up my alley. It has gorgeous visuals, smooth platforming, and so many references for all of us old SpongeBob fans.
Oh good, these restraints are so tight, I can't feel my leg anymore.
And I think it's a must-buy for SpongeBob and 3D platformer fans. I knew from the introduction of the plot that this game was more than Battle for Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob and Patrick get some magic bubbles from a mermaid at Glove World that definitely isn't evil, and then they rip time and space apart, destroying Bikini Bottom and have to bring all their friends back to Bikini Bottom. The plot felt authentic to the show, and it was way more than anything Battle for Bikini Bottom did. My favourite part about all of this is that they put spins on the levels of Battle for Bikini Bottom, going from a pirate-infested goo lagoon to a karate movie set set in downtown Bikini Bottom. The best part is that all the levels have subplots, making them more linear, but I love the writing and interactions between all of my favourite characters. SpongeBob now has a whole new moveset, and you can no longer play as Sandy or Patrick. He has all the typical stuff like a double jump and a spin, which do feel great, and I also love how expressive he is as he jumps and moves around. My two new favourites though were the glide and his homing karate kick. His glide is cleverly him holding a Krusty Krab pizza box, which forces him to sing the song from time to time. And the first time I heard this, I just had a stupid grin on my face because that's one of my favourite episodes.
The Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza for you and me.
His homing kick was great too, and it was used well in platforming, but I do wish they used it a bit more. The time that I needed to use this kick to clear gaps was really fun, but it only happened a couple of times, and I really wish they implemented it more because the platforming could have been a bit more than what it is. In general, he moves very smooth, except for the swing, which wasn't fixed from Battle for Bikini Bottom. If you just look at the swing animation, you can see that it's very weird, that when you grapple to a point, it brings you parallel to the point rather than going with the momentum, and it just looks and feels weird. The game in general does have some AA jank. Now, it does have a lot less than I was expecting, but certain cutscenes start and end abruptly, and there are plenty of jumps that you are supposed to do a certain way, but because of the way the terrain is made, you can jump on like different parts of the map to get to new places. And if you know me, you know I love AA jank, so this sort of stuff is charming to me. And then also the SpongeBob games have such a massive speedrunning community, and these sort of things are good for that community because it extended Battle for Bikini Bottom's life way further than it had any right to do. The combat is grand too, but nothing great. Look, to be honest, I never really like combat in 3D platformers. I think it's always quite shallow. Yeah, some enemy designs are cool, but in general, it's more just a way to slow you down. And I'm yet to find a 3D platform that has compelling combat. Look, there's a nice amount of enemy variety, but my main issue is with the enemies that have long attack animations that you have to bait out. While you have loads of things to deal with these enemies, like spins, dodge rolls, ground pounds, and a few more, I eventually just gave up on the combat outside of the encounters that the game forced me to complete, because waiting for this big enemy with a bat to do a spin or his tree slam so then I can hit him, and then have to do that 2 more times, it just wasn't fun. And on top of that, yeah, the boss fights, they're just fine. Again, even though I love 3D platformers, I find the bosses pretty boring and uneventful. I think the main thing that makes 3D platformer bosses memorable is their designs rather than the actual combat encounter. And the boss designs here are fine, but I wouldn't go any further than that. One of my biggest disappointments though, and I'm not sure if everybody would agree with this, is that I actually really like the slide levels in Battle for Bikini Bottom and in the SpongeBob movie game. There was something about retrying them to master and to learn the different winding paths that I just really loved as a kid, and even going back to Battle for Bikini Bottom a couple of years ago, I still liked them. And there's a few slide parts of this game, but they moved away from the multiple paths, so they were more just like linear, just go from point A to B. So it felt more like busy work than anything else. And then when they weren't slide levels, they were vehicle sections where you rode on a seahorse or on a unicycle. And the seahorse just controlled awfully. It was like on rails and moving left to right just didn't feel good. And again, there's no alternate paths, so it more just felt like a way to split up the game. But because it didn't feel good, it just more detracted from the game than anything else. So that would be my biggest disappointment with this game. Now, if you're all SpongeBob nuts like me, I mean, like, look at this painting I have in the background. I absolutely love SpongeBob, especially like the first 5-6 seasons. I was here for the references, and going into this, I was afraid that they were going to reference a lot of the new SpongeBob stuff, and then people like us who are in our 20s, who grew up with SpongeBob, like the early days of SpongeBob, might feel a bit left out. But no, it wasn't the case. To be honest, I'm not even sure if there were any references to the new episodes, because there were so many references to the old episodes, and every single time I got a Hashling and Slasher reference or a chocolate reference, I was just a stupid little smile came on my face. And I don't want to spoil any of them. I do have a video up on GameXplain if you want to watch it. Now, there is a spoiler warning in that video, but they're just that good. It was just so funny. And then on top of that, the writing is brilliant. And it's mostly down to the fact that Patrick is now a companion. He's almost like a Navi. He turns into this balloon that follows you around. And every single interaction with an NPC, Patrick has something to say. And Patrick is my favourite SpongeBob character. So the whole thing around this game is that there's costumes to buy. And one of them is you wear the glove from Glove World. And when you equip it, Patrick goes, "Oh my god, SpongeBob, you can finally shake hands with your head." And it just made me laugh. Like, it actually made me laugh.
This glove hat can only mean one thing.
You can finally shake hands with your whole head now.
There was multiple times in this game where I actually laughed, which is something I can't say for pretty much any game. Now, on the technical side, it's not too great. On the Xbox Series S, I pretty much had no issues, except for one level where a pirate was shooting cannonballs at me, and every time a cannonball would land, the game would hitch. And then there were a few things like level of detail issues where when you were in a cutscene, when the camera moved, it took a couple of seconds to load. Again, I've seen this an issue with a good few games recently, and I don't really know what's causing it because I'm not into that sort of technical stuff, but it was really noticeable. And then I also played the game on the PC and on the Steam Deck. And on the Steam Deck, the game would easily run at 60 FPS, but there is no video settings whatsoever. You can change VSync and you can change the resolution. That's all you can do. So I think on the Steam Deck, if you are interested in the Steam Deck, 40 FPS is the way to go with this game because you can't reduce any of the graphic settings. At 60, it can hold 60, but because the game is quite unstable, it does drop quite a bit. So 40 is definitely the sweet spot. And then I was playing it on my PC, which is a pretty decent PC, like has 32 gigs RAM, a 6600 XT, and whatever. It's a good PC. It 100% should be able to run this game. And I was playing it at 1440p at 144 Hz. SpongeBob was moving so smooth. But every now and again, there'd be this weird hitch where the game would just go from 144 to say 120 FPS, or it would drop. It's just weird. I don't understand what was causing it because that issue wasn't present on anything else. And then on the Switch, the game is like it's playable. If you have no other option, it's playable on the Switch, but I wouldn't recommend it if you have anything else. In handheld mode, it's pretty nice. The game still looks great on the OLED because it's so colourful, but the performance, it isn't great. Like, it constantly drops frames, and there's one part in the Wild West level where you go into a saloon and you have to fight a load of enemies in an enclosed place, and the game was literally running, I'd say, about 15 FPS. On the handheld, again, you can't really notice many of the jaggies, but on blowing it up on a 1080p screen, well, on a 4K TV, 1080p, there is it's still good looking, but it's not great. And then I'll have the collector's edition coming in soon on the PlayStation 5, and I'd assume that's going to be pretty similar to the Xbox Series S, if not a bit better, obviously, because the PlayStation 5 is more powerful. But this game is just great. Look, I'm the target audience for this. I love SpongeBob. I love 3D platformers. So, I mean, this game realistically would have had to be an absolute heap and pile of crap for me to not like it. Like, even if this was super buggy, I think I still would have been able to look past the bugs, in all honesty, because I just love SpongeBob and platformers that much. And I'm just glad that it is this good. Yeah, it still has some sort of AA jank, but I find that charming, and like Purple Lamp are a AA studio. Like, anything coming out of THQ Nordic will have issues. It's just how it is. But like, I just can't wait to see. I really hope they make another game because I love this game so much. Yeah, this was just a cool moment because I started my channel back in the day talking about SpongeBob games. I didn't get a code for Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated because I wasn't big enough. And this time I did get a code. So it's like nice to see a bit of progression. So thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate your time. Join the Discord down below because I would like to see more of you in there. Check out the shorts. I do a lot of shorts. Thank you. Goodbye.